guys, I'm Buddemeyer, and today I'm going to walk you through my custom Copperhead amp that was built in bias by Positive Grid. This thing's got a ton of tone in it, great for 80s metal. If you're into styles like Warren DeMartini of Rat or George Lynch from Dokken and Lynch Mob, you're going to love this thing. Okay, so here we are in bias, and we're taking a look at the Copperhead, and this is what it sounds like. So pretty cool. Now basically what this is, I'm a big fan of the Marshall 800s. So basically what I did is I took an 800, which here's the sound of that. So you've got a couple 12AX7 tubes in the preamp, and your pre-EQ is set. It's got the low shelf cut way back, and on the post EQ it's got everything kind of bumped up a little bit more. Bias is set right in the middle, and it's got 3 gain stages in here, okay? Distortion setup. So basically what I did is I changed out this second set, the follower tubes, to some AT7s instead of the AX7s, okay? And you get a little bit different sound here. So here's the AX7s. The AT7s. A little bit brighter tone. So basically what I did, I've got a preset saved in here for the Copperhead on the preamp. So what I did is I basically brought the low shelf up a little bit on the pre-EQ, bumped the mids up just a little bit, and set the highs just straight up. I added another gain stage, so this thing actually has 4 gain stages now. Now on the low cut frequency, I boosted that all the way, and then I took the high cut frequency back almost all the way down. That gives a nice attack for like palm mutes and stuff. Okay, so boosted the bias a little bit, and on the post EQ I put the lows almost straight up. I boosted the mids a little bit and boosted the highs a little bit. I'm a big fan of mids in guitar sound, because that's where all your tone comes from. A lot of guys like to cut that out, and it works well for what they do, but for my style I like to keep my mids in there to have a full range of attack on these things. Okay, so next in line is the tone stack. So they're using a British Crunch, which I use also, and the only thing different about this is I once again boosted my mids and my trebles and kept my bass straight up around there. So in the power amp section, they've got some EL34s. They've got it set to a push-pull. They've got the distortion set up about halfway, with the split set about halfway, and the power gain set up halfway. Bias is straight up and down. They've got the presence set about 2 o'clock, and a resonant set about 2 o'clock as well, maybe just a little bit over, you know. So go ahead and put in the Copperhead preset. Now on this, I boosted my distortion up about midway between 5 and 10, kept the splitter gain in the middle, and the power gain I boosted. Okay, I also boosted the bias to send more voltage into these tubes here, and kept the resonant and the presence basically the same, but it's starting to take shape now. Let's go into the transformer. Now the transformer on the 800s uses a British style, okay, and they're using a solid state rectifier, okay. Now what I did is I switched it over to a tube rectifier. I like the feel of that. You can hear a little bit of difference, but you can feel it in how you play, you know, how it reacts in the dynamics of this. So put in the Copperhead. I went to a tube rectifier. I kept the compression all pretty much the same, but I did lower my output some, and I use a fat style transformer on here. It gives a little bit wider sound. Cabinets. This is the deal breaker here, is the cabinets. Okay, so this is set up with the Celestion V30s. Now what I did is I went with the orange 4x12 V30s, okay, and then I set my mic just a little bit over on this grid here. Okay, so now you've got quite a different sound here. Little beefier tone on that. And then I put an EQ on here too. So what I did is I went in, there's no EQ on the Marshall, it's flat right now. So what I did is I went ahead and put a Copperhead EQ in here. What this is basically it's a low shelf with a high boost, okay? And I've got the level set right at 0, and I've got the mix set at about 70, okay? So it gives it a nice little mix here. Alright, so that is it. There's the British lead changed into the custom Copperhead. Alright, so from here, what I did is I exported this to JamUp. So let's take all this stuff off of here. This is just a noise gate and the amp. Now I wanted to bump this up a little bit, so I threw some compression on here to give it a little more punch. And I'm an EQ freak, so I'd like to bump the mids up just a little bit on this. So I threw a EQ in just to brighten it up a little bit. And what good is a rockin' amp without a tube driver or a tube screamer? Now I throw this in, I keep the overdrive set up about halfway, I bump the tone up just a little bit, but I keep the level down. I don't need to have this real loud because the amp already has enough power, you know, it's already pushing quite a bit. So this just gives a little bit added boost to it and just tweaks the tone just a little bit more. And I'm a delay freak as well. Got the level set just about 9 o'clock on the level, you know. Feedback is set about 10, and this is set to the BPM, so I've got a quarter beat delay set on this. And to round this thing out, I put a high pass filter on here. Now what this does is this kind of smooths everything out in the mix. It leaves room for the bass to come through on the bass tracks and the drums and everything else. What this does is this essentially gives you a post-production sound right out of the gate here.